Hello and welcome to another episode of the Digital Strategy newsletter, the video bit. In this week's episode, we're talking less about digital strategy and more about how we all love working from home, or more specifically, how we all hate working in the office. That's right, a few weeks ago, I sent out a survey asking you about your opinions on working from home in this new reality in which we find ourselves. And the results were very interesting, and we're going to go through those results today. Now, I got a number of great responses from you. One of the first questions I asked you was, what is your biggest frustration about working from home? And the results were quite telling. I spent a bit of time tidying up your responses to the question, what's your biggest frustration working from home? And through those responses into a word cloud generator. There were definitely some reoccurring themes which popped up. Now in television, they say never work with animals and children, and it seems to be the case when working from home. Children were a reoccurring theme, seeming to be one of the biggest distractions, but so were pets. Not just your own pets, not just your cat climbing on your keyboard, but your dogs barking throughout the day, your neighbour's dogs as well as your own. Being away from your usual office furniture seems to be a problem as well, with office chairs and office equipment being one of the biggest frustrations also. And when it comes to team communication, it's obvious that this is an area where lots of companies must try harder. It came up time and time again as people said getting replies, collaboration, being able to speak to the right person at the right time was something that they were struggling with. The reality is working from home is fundamentally different from working in the office, and it requires a different set of rules, a kind of working from home rules of engagement, if you will. Many companies have yet to adapt their own set of rules for working from home. And while these rules are going to be different for every company and every workforce culture, one company that is killing it with their workforce remote working culture is Trello. If you don't know who Trello are, they're basically a project management software provider. And their workforce is entirely remote. And it's entirely global. They've got employees working on every corner of the globe. At their 2018 Trello conference, their head of marketing gave a 15-minute presentation on how they have set the rules of engagement for remote working. If you feel like your remote working could be improved and that there are changes that your company could make to improve the productivity and collaboration of its remote working practices, then check out the video. I'm going to stick a link in the description below, and there should be one contained in the email as well, so it won't be difficult for you to find. But I highly recommend watching this video because it is very useful. Now, when it comes to the biggest benefits of working from home, there was one standout winner, and that was everybody hates commuting. Who could have guessed it? All that wasted time spent sat in traffic is freed up and allowing people to spend more time with their kids, which was one of the other themes that came up. People said repeatedly having more time to spend with family at the start and at the end of the day, being able to pick kids up, the flexibility, the work-life balance, these were all huge benefits that are clear everybody is enjoying. Some of the other benefits that people don't often talk about but are clearly quite important were changes in diet. Being able to have home cooked meals, spending less money in cafes and bars and restaurants around the office is allowing people to make better food choices whilst at the same time saving money. All of this is great for us office workers. However, it's obvious we have to think about the ultimate knock-on for city centres. Cafes and bars and the hospitality industry are going to take a battering, but that's kind of the new reality that we live in, and I'm not entirely sure what the answer is there. Maybe more Deliveroo? One of the biggest issues that comes up when discussing working from home is the issue of productivity. And there certainly is a sense among managers and leadership teams that if you allow people to just work from home all the time, they'll be less productive. Now, it might not be the most scientific of methods, but that doesn't seem to be the case when you ask people themselves. In this survey, 65% of respondents said that they were actually more productive when working from home. That's certainly something that I always feel when I work from home. I'm more efficient, I'm more focused, I'm just better able to manage my time with far fewer distractions. And that certainly seems to be the case amongst the respondents of this survey. 32% of respondents said that they were equally productive when working from home, and a tiny slither of respondents said that they were less productive. So on the whole, it seems that working from home, most people feel they are either equally, or in fact the majority feel they are more productive when working from home. This has got to be a good thing, right? Which leads me to the final question, which was, how many days would you ideally like to work in the office? And this did surprise me. A lot of you don't want to work in the office at all, ever. You'd just rather never be there. Over a quarter of you said 0 days per week, and 5% of you said half a day a week or 1 day a fortnight, which I found quite interesting. A quarter of you also said 1 day a week, and just over 20% of you said 2 days per week, which gives us a total of around 80% of you saying you want to be in the office 2 days or less per week. I'll be honest, that came as a bit of a surprise to me. I was expecting most people to say that they would like to be in the office 2 to 3 days per week, but with a quarter of you or more saying 0 days per week, that really was quite a surprise. It's clear that working from home just really is not something that many of us want to do. However, one surprise was that 2% of respondents, or just under 3% of you, said that you would like to work in the office 5 days per week. I'm surprised anybody said that at all. 5 days per week in the office to me sounds like a very dystopian future. We've left that behind. They are the old days. Surely, please don't make me go back to the office 5 days a week. I couldn't bear it. That's it for this week's edition of the Digital Strategy newsletter. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any comments or thoughts on the responses of that survey, are you surprised that some people want to work in the office 5 days a week? Does it surprise you that 25% of people say they never want to work in the office again? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, or email me directly. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. And until then, have a great fortnight, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks' time.